Hi friends! It is now time for our second earth science investigation. For this investigation, it will take exactly 1 day, and it's an investigation all about physical weathering. Weathering. Pebbles and sand are pieces of rock. Pebbles are pretty big. You can count a handful of pebbles. Pieces of sand are tiny. You can't count the particles in a handful of sand. All pebbles and sand particles start out as huge masses of rock the size of mountains. How do mountains break down into pebbles and sand? The answer is weathering. Weathering is the breaking apart of rocks into smaller pieces. Weathering happens to all rocks when they are exposed to water and air. Physical weathering. Rocks break down in two ways. Physical weathering makes rocks smaller, but does not change the rocks in any other way. When a big rock falls from the side of a cliff, it breaks into lots of smaller rocks. All the minerals in the small rocks are the same as the minerals in the big rock. When rocks get hot and then cold, they can crack. Sometimes water gets into cracks in rocks. Water expands when it freezes. It can expand enough to break big sections of rock along the crack. When ice melts, the rock may break into smaller pieces. Physical weathering of cliffs. A rock weathered by freezing and thawing of water. Roots of trees and bushes can grow down into cracks in rocks. As roots grow, they make the cracks bigger. Sometimes the cracks get so big that the rock falls apart. When rocks bang into one another, they get worn down. Rubbing, grinding, and banging is called abrasion. Abrasion is a kind of physical weathering. It happens when rocks fall in landslides, tumble in flowing water, or crash around in waves. Wind can blow sand against rocks. This sandblasting weathers the rocks. Tree roots grow and break rocks. Sand abrasion on cliffs. Blowing sand can weather rocks into interesting shapes. Now, friends, the type of physical weathering that we're going to simulate today with our experiment is abrasion. And then we'll get to it in just a second. For this experiment, you're going to have to dig into that big bag again. What you're going to need is a clean vial, which you should have rinsed out all of the soil vials from our last investigation, so you should have one clean and ready to go. You should also have a little baggie that says physical weathering on it. In addition to that baggie, you should also have your hand lens that you used in your previous investigation. That will be used to look at the rocks in more detail. Right here. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to open your investigation book. So your Earth Science Journal. Looks just like this. You're going to open to the investigations part. You're going to go past your previous investigation of soil. And you're going to find the page that says Physical Weathering Investigation Response. Now, the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to look at two different rocks. One called gray granite and the other called conglomerate. Now, taking both of these rocks out of the baggies and using your hand lens, you're going to take a detailed description of each rock. Again, examining the properties of the rock, the color, the texture, what it's made out of, if there are any sparkles in either one of those rocks, okay? The hand lens is really helpful because it makes all of the parts of the rock look a little bit bigger, so you're able to draw in more detail. You're going to put your drawings here for granite and here for conglomerate. Pause the video and do that right now. Now for the fun part. So, the very first rock that's listed is granite. So we are going to simulate abrasion with the granite. In order to do this, you're going to take the vial, drop the granite inside, securely fasten the top, and then shake it for several minutes. Do that now. Pause the video and shake it as hard as you can for several minutes. Once you're done shaking your rock, you're going to pour the contents out on a paper plate, or if you don't have a paper plate, a tissue will do just fine, or a regular plate. And then you're going to make observations in your journal. Again, does it feel different? Does it look different? Have pieces fallen off of the granite? So make those observations right now. Now what you did with the granite, you're going to repeat for the conglomerate rock. So again, the conglomerate rock is a lot more bumpy and lumpy than the granite, so make sure that you can tell the difference between the two. So I'm going to drop the conglomerate rock in, securely fasten the top on the vial, and again, shake it for several minutes. Pause the video and do that now. All right, friends, once you're done shaking the conglomerate rock, you're going to pour the contents on a separate piece of paper or on a paper plate or tissue or whatever you have handy. And again, you're going to make observations in the bottom space. What does it look like? Has it changed in any way? Are there pieces broken off of it? Is it smoother? So you're going to draw a detailed description of the rock right here where it says conglomerate. Now, there's an obvious difference between the two rocks. What is the difference? Your job is to make that observation on the next page. I found that the granite rock, fill in the blank. I found that the conglomerate rock, fill in the blank. That is your job today. Now, what we were just doing with the abrasion is simulating what happens between thousands and thousands of years. Weathering does not happen overnight. It certainly doesn't happen within a minute, but we were simulating what abrasion does to rocks over time. Once you are done with the experiment, please make sure to return both the granite and conglomerate rocks to the baggies they came in. Thank you.